Bunny. Now if you see me moving around on the screen, it's like using one phone to do everything. So don't worry about my hand. I'm sharing it on WhatsApp. Bunny. Margaret Thatcher. People has asked me, Philip, if we make you Prime Minister, will you do these lives every night? Let me tell you something. These lives more important to me than anything else that I could be doing outside of my family. So yeah, I would definitely be doing these lives regularly and you will be able to be updated. And yeah, we will block trolls and we'll flick them away like lizard shit. Now, I want to apologize to Vernon DeLima, and I hope Vernon DeLima is watching me now. And I also want to ask Satish, I don't know what kind of magic we're going to work here, because Vernon DeLima is supposed to be a guest on the show, believe it or not, late as it is now. Vernon has some information he want to share. But I using the phone that have the WhatsApp, so I'm in a real quandary, because there's something else I wanted to share that Satish sent me on that phone too, so it's dramas. Vernon, Satish. I wonder if I have Satish on this phone. Not even a little bit. Let me see. And Satish, if you're hearing me, call me on phone 2. Because we need to link up Vernon DeLima and get him to make that contribution, or I could cancel this live and start it over, but it could take a while. So let me go on. I want to ask the PNM trolls, not the trolls, sorry, the PNM supporters, the PNM defenders. I want to ask the PNM defenders a question. I want to ask them an honest question, and I want an honest answer. How is a state of emergency supposed to help with a pandemic that we fighting 16 months now, and we beat it 6 months in? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. Help me understand. I really want to understand. How does a state, you see the pandemic was starting tomorrow, and we knew it coming, and they declare a state of emergency. I tell you, prudent. That's prudent. I'll tell you something else. It is greed, and it has this COVID-19. The thing that makes the least sense to me, so what I'm about to say is for people whose brain works. This is not for people who have cognitive dissonance in overdrive that prevents you from accepting anything outside of what you fundamentally believe to be true, even if you know it is wrong. Cognitive dissonance is the struggle that you experience in your brain when you hear a truth that you know to be true, but it contradicts a long-held belief. That discomfort, that nausea, that feeling to vomit, that cognitive dissonance. Hear me. I'm really not trying to disrupt anybody's well-being. My mission always was Trinidad. I didn't need to be the Prime Minister to fix it. I've done a lot. I've accomplished a lot. I've been instrumental in the passage of laws. I've helped people. I don't want to boast about that. It's not about me. My issue was always Trinidad. My issue was always a better Trinidad. I love this country. I don't have enough life ahead of me to learn another country the way I know Trinidad. Trinidad, I love this place. I love it bad. And what Trinidad was for me, I wanted it for my children. And I think we can get there again. I think we can make it the best country to live in the world. I think Trinidad can be the richest, wealthiest, best place to live on the planet. And I believe that because the raw material is here. We have everything we need, but put that aside. Put that aside. I want you to follow this train of thought. Now, the correct saying is follow a trend of thought. As the origin of the saying, follow this trend of thought, which means follow the concepts that are assembling this thought. That's what the saying originally meant. Follow this trend of thought. But people misheard it, and it sounded more to them like follow this train of thought, like something on a track and it going and just follow that. Now that could work, but it's not as effective as a trend of thought, because a train is locked on tracks, whereas a trend is open to new input and new information. A train can leave the track and still continue to drive. So follow this trend of thought, because I am open to discussions. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you how words and written words and heard words, there are two types of sandwiches you could buy: a gyro and a hero. But in Greece, where the gyro sandwich come from, Gyro is pronounced hero, but it's spelled Gyro. And the people who heard hero in their minds saw Hero, whereas the people who saw Gyro pronounced it gyro. And somebody had to make a sandwich to fit the name hero, and they came up with a sandwich and sold it as hero sandwiches in New York City when the Greeks were launching their heroes that became gyros, and the rest is history. Sesame Street have a little play with two fellas talking. He said, "Today I saw a bird in a tree. It was very tall." The other guy said, "The bird?" He said, "No, the tree." And it was singing. The other fellow said, "The tree?" He said, "No, the bird." And conveying a thought, that's a superpower, you know. Putting what's in my head into your head and getting you to understand what I'm trying to say is a superpower. It's called communication. It is the greatest gift that human beings have. We take it for granted. Communication. And it's something that I excel at. It is my gift. Anyway, back to this trend of thought. Follow me here. Feel free to contradict me. I have no problem with a contradiction. But don't attack me. I mean, when I say don't attack me, the trolls will attack anyway. But don't make it personalities. Even if this affects your mind, even if it affects your brain a little bit, even if it challenges things that you believed, even if it challenges things that your parents believed, that other people that you love believed, your cult, even if it challenged that, you have a duty of responsibility and care to yourself and those that you love, for you to be able to formulate and encapsulate concepts in your own mind of the view of this world and what makes sense. And the more we get people thinking critically, using logical deduction to arrive at conclusions, the quicker the conversation will move from blunt force meeting a movable object to people sharing and exchanging ideas. And the beauty of sharing and exchanging ideas is there is a way forward for that. But immovable force, unstoppable force meeting a movable object is a prescription for disaster. I don't want those conversations anymore in my life. Moving forward, after that whole big preamble, moving forward. In about November of 2019, something happened in a place in China called Wuhan. Now, everything that has happened since COVID-19 and everything that the world has done and every reaction, and I want to bring it to our current state of emergency so that you will see that we didn't have to come here. We were always willing to do these things. I don't understand why we didn't do them when they could have mattered. So here it is. China contacted the World Health Organization to say that they have a highly contagious strain of a virus working its way through their population, causing deaths. It's 14 days asymptomatic, and that they don't know how to handle it. The first step, and hear me again, you don't have to agree with me because I'm gorgeous, because I have nice hair, or that I look good in orange. Agree with me if it makes sense to you. The World Health Organization should have raised an alarm with the rest of the world and cut Wuhan, China off from the planet, and quickly begin conversation with the leadership of China to get them to isolate Wuhan, to contain the contagion. Step one, contain it there. That should have been step one. If you're watching movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman, he was going to nuke a place that had Ebola to save the rest of the world. But we are reaching that conversation. But this is what we're talking about here. From the minute Wuhan, China, contacted the World Health Organization, Wuhan was to be cut off and isolated. Now, that done effectively 2 days. Cut off all flights, ground them. 9/11 showed that you could have grounded planes that were already in the air, changed their destinations. 100,000 planes were redirected and they landed safely. It's only the planes that were involved in the hijacking crashed. All the other 100,000 planes were redirected. We could have cut Wuhan, state of emergency, Wuhan, China. And then monitor China. Put Wuhan, China on a red warning. Absolute no contact. Put China, mainland China, on an orange warning. Limited contact, measured contact, 24 hours. We want you to tell us what you are going to do to shut down Wuhan. When are you going to bring out the army and close Wuhan down? Now, when we shut Wuhan down, there would have been people who already left Wuhan and went Italy and Spain and Greece. Northern Italy was the place that had the contagion. The first contagion that left Wuhan, China, went Northern Italy immediately, because the World Health Organization now was supposed to declare war on this pandemic, even as we were trying to pin it down, because it's wildly contagious. This is November 2019. It's wildly contagious, and its leader is causing death. And you can't treat it. Nothing that we throw in at it working. Shut down Northern Italy. Put Italy itself on notice. Close all transportation. Shut down borders. And put it out internationally that for the duration of this pandemic, Italy is closed. China is closed. Isolate them and isolate the pandemic there. And let the whole world throw resources to assist and help. And anywhere that you found a case, anywhere that escaped and somebody landed in Spain, wherever they landed, contact trace, lock it down, shut it down, so that quickly we could have moved to a place where by January 15 countries might have had it. And Donald Trump, God bless his orange soul, Donald Trump said in December, this is a Chinese virus, shut China down. Donald Trump was the first to raise that alarm. Donald Trump stopped air travel between America and China, but the rest of Europe jackassed the scene. Especially Italy, especially Northern Italy. The rest is, all of this is history. But Northern Italy and the mayor of Northern Italy, who wanted to be the biggest anti-Trump in the world, created a program called Hug a Chinese Person Today, and they call it xenophobia, and kill half his population, his aged population, because at that point, they didn't know how to treat it, how to isolate it, how to manage it, how to recognize it. They didn't know what to throw at it. People were dying. The world failed. The world failed. Trinidad and Tobago, that has very limited tourism, except at carnival time. We were aware, because I was in the national conversation in December 2019 about COVID, not even COVID, it was called novel coronavirus. People were starting to look for all kind of conspiracies they see on the Lysol can, Look, this thing have coronavirus on there. They knew they planned this and 5G. Immediately all that shit started coming out. No problem. But in December we knew. And we were so aware that in Trinidad we passed a public health ordinance that was repealed today and replaced with a new public health ordinance as of today. But Legal Notice 34 that was proclaimed by our president on January 31st, 2020 was a state of public health emergency. That's what it was. Now, a tired blame Rowley. I feel like I'm kicking a dumb animal now. But you have to understand, if I was the Prime Minister and I did what Rowley did, I to blame. Rowley is the Prime Minister. Is he to blame? He to blame for this. Like the mayor of Northern Italy who jackassed the scene, Keith Rowley's refusal to shut Trinidad down when we proclaimed Legal Notice 34, his refusal to create a space in the sea locked off from the rest of the world, Trinidad and Tobago, until all you pin down this COVID shit. Tourism means nothing to this country financially. Carnival is a net loss. We could bring 150,000 tourists to Trinidad. It cost us money per tourist head to host Carnival. Carnival doesn't make us money. It costs us money. And they tell you is ways for what used to be wire benders to make $1. Now is ways for Ball seller on the side of the road and people to get a little contract to put up them shack in the savannah, and the fella who rented the stage, he making millions. People writing the lights, they're making millions. There's really for friends and financiers of the government to eat a food. Carnival time is that. But forget that. The point I want to make to you is this. We did without Carnival 2021 and we survived. If we had done without Carnival 2020, we would have been able to have Carnival 2021, albeit with only our people. Or, if you wanted to come to Trinidad for Carnival 2021, we would have been in such a fortunate position because we would have had 0 COVID cases. I want you to understand this. If we had shut Trinidad and Tobago down in January, no yachties, all ships being stopped 3 miles out at sea, we would have had 0 COVID. The same shit they're doing tonight. 16 months late. All them people dead. All them thousands you want to weep and twist your navel string for and tear your garment and pull out your hair and tell me, oh God, Philip, let me walk with the government now, man. Look, people dead in. I saying this since January 2020. All your navel twisters late to the game. I saw that this was going to come. And Keith Rowley and his government could have declared war on COVID-19, shut this nation's borders down, dispatch the Coast Guard. Listen, they have ships that can't work, but they could float, drag their ass out and drop anchor and leave them there as a floating platform with small interceptor crafts with Coast Guard men armed to the freaking teeth and send boats back and forth to service and supply them like we do with the oil rigs. We own 33 Coast Guard boats. We own hundreds of them little fast attack boats and rubber dinghy. We could have go to yacht club and commandeer boats, take boats, tell them watch me, we mash up with your boat, we'll get paid for it, we need it for this, and commandeer it like they did at Dunkirk in World War II and move the entire British army that was trapped on a beach. We could have secured this nation's border. A fish should not be able to get from Venezuela to Trinidad. Secure it. So we ring Trinidad with Coast Guard vessels armed to the freaking teeth, stop 3 miles out at sea. And then on land, dispatch the 8,000 strong army we have that's going to be outside now, 16 months later, going and secure 1.4 million people in the house. Could have been the second line of defense down on the south coast. Just throw up tents on all of the major thoroughfares and intersections, and finally support that with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. We could have locked this country. People, when you ask what you do, pay attention, you know. I'm telling you what I want to do. But because we're telling them to do this since January. And we would have had zero COVID. None. And we would not have destroyed our economy. And our Heritage and Stabilization Fund would still be intact. So all the things that happened after Carnival, the PNM cruise of death, general elections 2020, THA elections, cricket, golf tournament, Easter, Jackass, the scene in Easter, all of that wouldn't be a problem. We would have been able to do more. We could have put off Carnival in February 2020 and have it in June. Tell everybody. Tell tribe, all of them, stick a pin. You're going to lose your overseas customers, resell it to locals at a reduced price. We get all your Carnival in June. We'll still get with Carnival. And all we had to do was properly govern the country. You see, COVID-19 didn't pounce on us. We had notice. So all this thing you're doing tomorrow, to go and cut ribbon for a temporary tent, why don't lay a foundation stone while you're at it? Jackass. In the middle of the netball court, they get up, put on a foundation stone. Here we lay a temporary tent. We so stupid, idiotic, insipid, myopic, crazy. This country mad. All these things that we're doing right now, all of it, none of it would have to happen. All them press conference. All them Hines and Trotman and Richards and Parashram and Dial Singh bullshit theater circus. None of it would have happened. They'd have come and tell us once. There's a thing called COVID. We should have get public service announcements playing on the radio, on the TV, interrupting cable, coming across social media, boosted into every feed. Pay attention to this. Outside of Trinidad and Tobago, there is a virus called novel coronavirus. They say it is going to kill people. It is highly contagious. With that in mind, we have decided to shut this country down. If you leave Trinidad and Tobago to travel for any reason, by boat or by plane, when you come back, you will be quarantined at your expense for 21 days. And if you're not up to that, slow your roll, stay in your lane, hold it down and wait. Because we want zero. And that should have been the public service. That should have been the mission. Trinidad should have been given that as a mission. 0 cases. 0 cases. And every week we should have got a press conference and say, as of now, we have 0 cases. 0. They should have commanded the entire old Piarco airport, turned that into a camp for screening. Take the Regency Star, whatever that hotel name is, Bel Air Hotel, take Holiday Inn Express, and cordon off Piarco, isolate Piarco. Like Berlin. Like how East Berlin. When Stuart Young say, I only tell you, you see, I don't like to come at these people and embarrass them because they have big degrees. But a degree is only as important, is only as effective as the head, the brain that ride in that degree. Between Rowley and Stuart Young, they stupid for about 10 people because both of them had said the same shit. Rowley tell you about Brazil, they can't be Brazil, the land border, people step over the boundary, it's impossible. Stuart Young say America, Canada, Mexico, it's impossible. When they built the Berlin Wall around the second largest city in Europe at the time, their lockdown of East Berlin was so effective that they created an airlift. The Allies created an airlift into and out of East Germany for months, that every hour, on the hour, a plane touchdown and a next plane take off. It was landlocked and locked off. Berlin. Crack a book na Rowley. Crack a book na Stuart. Or Google something na man. They trapped Cuba in the 60s. Lock it down. Nothing in, nothing out. So when you come to tell people shit, somebody have to unshit the shit you say. Or Chinese will walk around, well, but you can't secure our border. It's impossible. We have a sea border. The easiest thing, when they were building castles, in the age of castle building, the greatest defense around a castle was a moat. Something they dug and filled with water. If you got an opportunity to build your castle with half of its defenses backing the sea like Dover, you don't win half the battle already. Because defending in water, humans still don't walk on water. It is difficult. We have a natural moat all around Trinidad and Tobago called the Caribbean Sea. For you to come to Trinidad, you have to come on a marine craft. And we will see you coming from 3 miles away. Because the Germans had set up spotters on the entire Atlantic coast of Europe, expecting an invasion. They had run from Italy to Spain and Portugal, spotters all along the way. The only reason the Allies were able to invade at Normandy is that they created a fake invasion force at Calais, and they built fake boats and planes out of metal, out of foil, and they put it in the sea, and they were spotting it, and they were seeing it on the radar, and they was expecting the attack from Calais. And that's 1945, 1944. This is 2021. This is 2021. We have the internet, we have GPS, we have satellites, we have Christ, we have sonar boys, we have unmanned drones. This is 2021. Keith Rowley could sit down in the Prime Minister's residence and secure the whole border himself with 5 monitors and a joystick. That's the truth. That's the absolute truth. A ring of sonar boys around Trinidad. As you cross it, trips an alarm. It trips an alarm and it shows you on a radar exactly where they crossed it. So you send from the south coast, you ain't coming from Chagaramas, 3 minutes away. They need 15 minutes to hit the shore, you need 3 minutes to see them. So you reach them with your unmanned aerial drone. If they shoot it down, the next thing that's coming at them is a shore-to-sea missile. You're sending an unmanned drone to see and warn them, stop. While the Coast Guard, from the closest vessel, dispatching an interceptor boat. Helicopters overhead, bright lights, 1 million candle power, light up the sea like day. Loudspeaker, stop where you are, drop anchor, prepare to be boarded. You see, I have seen, when I tell people about the maritime security wall, and we're going to re-release a video we did in 2017, it's about 5 minutes long. So you'll see how long we talk in this. So we didn't get to the border talk just yesterday. But we could have done this. We could have secured this nation and we would have had zero COVID. Imagine if you have a COVID reaction team that if a case touched down on the shore, that positive person and everybody they contact with quarantine. One time, isolate it, beat it. Because you see, we've lost billions of dollars. We've lost hundreds of lives through mismanagement and failure to plan and failure to execute. So when Keith Rowley have one of those press conferences that's manipulated, it's scripted, it's bullshit to fool those who want to be fooled. Because we did not have to be this, what we're in right now. Trinidad did not have to have a state of emergency 16 months in. 16 months in a state of emergency is an admission of failure by Keith Rowley and his government. That's what it is. Because everything I said would have kept us COVID free from the start. Move on from that. You went through COVID, you had your carnival, you had your death cruise, you make all your mistakes, and you said by June 2020, we had 0 cases. We had 0 cases for about 4 months. Now, even the most dotish sycophant knows nothing from nothing leaves nothing. When I asked Terence D'Ancy, where the second wave supposed to come from, Terence, if we lock down 6 months now and the airports close? Where? It is to make a point. COVID doesn't grow like grass. It is an alien entity. If you kill all of it, then you have to bring more of it from outside to have it again. So to even the most die-hard Balizé Juice cult member, understand that no matter what events you had in the country, after we were 0 cases for 4 months, Trinidad was COVID free. And the only way COVID could have come into the country is through mismanagement and incompetence on the part of the people who were responsible for managing those things. And that's as simple as I could say it. And those are the smallest words I could use. And if you're still so stupid, because a woman tonight shared my post, I said, let me get this straight. We have the resources to keep 1.4 million people in their houses, but we don't have the resources to keep 20 pirogue full of Venice coming ashore. And she said, Philip jackass in the scene and Philip not making sense. And when she shared my post saying that, the pushback she got a tsunami of people coming to tell her that you don't understand what he is saying. And she trying to defend it. And I need for her to understand, Miss Ramcharita, whatever your name is. I went on your post and I checked. I went on your Facebook page and you had 5 PNM appointments. And you work in Ministry of Social Development, you was in MyLat, and you got all of these things that I know you can only access if you have a PNM party card and somebody recommending you. So you're obviously part of the cult and you didn't come out to have a rational conversation. You came to attack me, and people were telling you things, and you're telling them you're not on the political scene, but you're trying to say I am a political ass. And they come to tell you that this was not politics. This is fact. There was a joke an old man said. He went hunting, and he forgot to put bullets. No, the joke he was saying was, a girl got pregnant and they didn't think that the fella who got her pregnant was the father. And the fella said, it reminded him of a story about a man who went shooting. He forgot to put bullets in his gun, and he aimed at a beaver to shoot it, and he pulled the trigger and there had no bullets, so his assistant shouted, bang, and the beaver dropped dead. He said, now the only thing that you could say as the truth there is somebody else shot that beaver. It makes the point. We cannot have COVID if we had no COVID. And the only way to get COVID is to import it. Can't make it up here. Can't email it. You have to import this virus. Church Young dance, all kind of samba dance, ducking where the Brazilian variant come from. Until Fitzgerald Hines, newly, freshly minted Minister of National Security, had to admit, the only way it could have come in the country, it had to be a migrant, it had to be an immigrant, and it had to be an illegal immigrant, because we're quarantining everybody else. The only people who could bring a disease into the country now, coming in illegally, not quarantining, because it's 14 days. 14 days, everything that Trinidad's supposed to have the lowest count of all contagious diseases right now, because of the masks and the sanitizing and the sinks and the social distancing, but because the borders are supposed to be shut and be quarantining people. So any case of coronavirus, especially new variants of coronavirus coming in to the country, has to be imported. And as we are not deliberately importing coronavirus, COVID-19, Brazilian or any other variant, then it means somebody failing at their job. That's it. And as much as the cognitive dissonance that want you to say great is the PNM and Rowley till I'm dead, he still failed. And don't wait for somebody you love to get COVID-19 and dead for you to say, you know, Rowley, you failed. You could love him still. Your wife burn your food, you could say, babe, I love you still, you know, but I can't eat this shit. Or your husband burn the food, same thing. Or for those same-sex people, your partner, making the point, don't want to upset nobody. You could love somebody and tell them they're talking shit. You could love somebody and say, I love you bad, but you're doing shit. You could love somebody and you could say, I love you bad, but you kill all these people who died from coronavirus. You. All them cases that tripping over themselves, that inside the hospital, that on the floor, the morgue, overflowing, all that shit, all they lying and telling people, you do it. So when you come to say, do jackass the scene, if you had tell yourself that, January 2020, nobody had to die. That'll forever be my point. I don't care about Kamala and she dome and the punching and who say drink bleach and all that shit. I just care about science. I just care about numbers. I care about fact. I care about reality. And if I tell you don't put tents in Gene Pay Complex when they have millions of square feet of covered space in that same complex that you could have used? Don't make excuses. Don't go and cut ribbons. Accept that you're doing shit. Accept that we're calling you out. Say, oops. I'll tell you something. As hard as what I'm about to say is to believe, and some of you are going to fight me on this, and I accept that, but it's the truth. I make mistakes at times. Yes. Yes, it's a fact. Billy, don't argue. I do. And if you point out to me that I make a mistake, I get to learn. And the beauty of me is I try never to make the same mistake twice. Until all of you, each and every one of you, regardless of how you benefit from knowing the government or who's your partner and which link up you have, and boss, I don't want to lose that contract or that HEC house or that UIP or that hamper or that banana. If all of us was telling the same government, watch me now, shut the freaking borders down. Stop the stunting, shut the borders. If you shut the borders down, let's forget COVID. Let's talk 50,000 illegal guns that killing people in this country. Gary and them can't pick up the guns fast enough because new guns come in. But if you shut the borders down, if you shut it down, if you make it impossible for guns to come in the country, then the existing police service could pick up all the guns that are out there until there'll come a time, the law of diminishing resources, there will come a time when there'll be no more illegal guns in the country, and the murder rate will drop. Because as much as people will still kill each other with big stone and cutlass, it's harder to do a drive-by chopping than it is to do a drive-by shooting. And a drive-by stone pelting, even harder. And as much as you want to hate me, I don't like that man, boy. He arrogant. He abrasive. He bright, eh? He does talk sense, but he abrasive. I don't like how he does looking orange. And that hairstyle, what going on with that? All of that. I get that. But it's not about me. I watched a video the other day. A woman asked the room, how many of you have lost a loved one to violence? Please stand up. How many of you have lost a loved one to disease? Please stand up. And how many of you have lost a loved one to drunk or distracted driving? Please stand up. And there was a point she was trying to make. And when the majority of the people were standing, she said to them, the things I am going to talk about have to do with why that shouldn't be so, and not about anything else. So disconnect this conversation from anything else but why it should not be so, and why if we get together on that point, we could fix it. And that, my friends, at 12:03, on a video that started on a Sunday and it's now Monday, is the point that I still want to make. That the people who have coronavirus now, and the people who have COVID-19 now, and the people who are in the hospitals, the morgues, and still to be tested and still to be found, and all the shit that all of you and all of us are talking about, and all the navel ringing, hair pulling, clothes tearing, all of that, that's going to continue if we don't make securing the borders job one. The only state of emergency this country needed was 3 miles out at sea. And that is still the first thing that the government is supposed to do. And if they did it to fight COVID, and if they secure the borders to fight COVID, and if they effectively secure the borders to fight COVID so that nothing could pass, then they would also end the drug trade and the importation of illegal guns and ammunition, and all of the human trafficking in both directions, and the importation of cartel cocaine dollars that has built empires that have corrupted the entire public service in this country. So fight COVID. You never hear them come for the tea, stay for the old talk? Fight COVID and all of these other things. Secure the borders. I know I'm sounding like a stuck record. Secure the borders. It is easy. It's possible. It's feasible. It's cost effective. Last thing I want to say to Keith Rowley and now Fitzgerald Hines. There are countries all around the world that will fling 5 Coast Guard boats and 2 battleships for us to borrow. Borrow it now. War games between Trinidad and South America. We have a problem. Nothing pass. Nothing past this line in the sea. 3 miles out of the sea, we call it virtual line in the sea. If you pass it, you don't stop to be examined, to be boarded. If you don't stop, if you're not essential to Trinidad and Tobago, and we can't direct you to the port of Spain that should also be set up as a quarantine zone, then we'll sink you right here. And you'll swim your ass back to Venezuela. So let's, as a people, think about the 10,000 people plus who have been murdered by illegal guns in this country. If we had secured the borders in 2010, they'd be alive. They'd be alive. If we had secured the borders in 2010, the 380 women that we can't count for, the Minister of National Security, when it was Dillon, admitted in the Parliament, 57 of our women have been trafficked. The media has never asked a question, can you name them? Give us a list. How do you know they've been trafficked? Where are they? What information are you basing this on? You give a factual statement like 57 women have been trafficked. How do you know that? If we had secured the borders in 2010, those women would still be here. All of them. If we had secured the borders in 2010, we'd have practically no COVID-19 in this country right now. So to all of you who want to earn your Balize nickels and dimes, beat up yourself. Bleed for the pack. Fling your frame. Go down in Stanmore Avenue and throw yourself against Balize House. No problem. Stop blaming Trinis. Stop looking for shit to blame Trinis. Because Trinis, the only thing Trinis are guilty of is a continuous political irresponsibility that has ruined Eden, destroyed Camelot, burnt to the ground what should have been the most beautiful country in the world. Trinidad and Tobago should have been the wealthiest nation per capita in the world. Trinidad and Tobago should have the best quality of life in the world, but for political irresponsibility. The British knew what they were doing when they separated Pakistan from India. Tell them, Hindus, I don't like them Muslims. Tell the Muslims, I don't like them Hindus, and throw them at each other's throats. Go and do the same thing in Rwanda with the Hutus and the Tutsis and have them killing one another, and did it in Trinidad with the Africans and the Indians. But this is 2021, and even though they have plenty stupid people, I admit that there are plenty stupid people in the country, it's not enough to make a difference. And that pandemic easy to solve. Shake off the racist bullshit. If the only reason you're voting for a political party is because you look like them, it's not politics you're practicing. That is called institutionalized racism, and that's not helping nobody. Until tomorrow, stay safe.